Hello, I'm here with Evan and Luke. They are the authors of Somnium. And so tell us a little bit about the game.
Well, Somnium is kind of this strange early Windows dreamscape game where you meet some interesting characters and the operating system is a little corrupt in some places, so you find some interesting artifacts of that. And by meeting all these characters, you kind of help them along the way, and that kind of leads to its own narrative and stuff.
All right. And can we bring that up? The gameplay? There we go. Okay, I like it already. So you have the old school DOS window. Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, so we have this whole kind of facade operating system that in most functions that it shows, it is operational. So it has a functional command prompt and little file explorer, start menu, stuff like that. And it kind of operates within its own kind of realm of, this very unique, obviously emulating Windows 95 and 98. So we have a lot of, quirky sound effects for every time you click or something like that. And this is just the shell for the game. It acts as our UI, but it also adds this kind of depth of what this game is about and what makes it interesting. So yeah, we just have simple controls that are playing through now, and then stylized options just for the same effect. We do have active saving in this game, so every kind of element you get and stuff like that kind of automatically saves to your disk. This is the starting animation, and it's where basically this is where things start to go a little off than you expect. It's like you go in and crash into this strange new world inside the operating system. So you have to interact with these characters, yeah.
All right, excellent, excellent. So, what is the point of this game? Like, I see floating letters behind the knight's head.
Right. So basically, because you crashed in following your email that you were trying to send, all the letters got scattered, and so it's your job to kind of pick them up as you go along. And each level is themed after the color in CYMK, cyan, yellow, magenta, and key, which we interpreted as black, as most printers do. And so each of these characters kind of have a very unique, involvement with that theme. And the whole point is just you go in and interact and help these characters on each level. So yeah.
Excellent, excellent. And are all these art assets yours?
Yes. So all of these art assets are ours. Actually, all the textures for all the characters and everything come from one sprite sheet. They're just UV mapped cleverly, so one sprite sheet can cover the entire game, which also adds, a nice simple unification of the theme, since we don't have that much variety in the first place. It's also that we have an interesting method of animation. While normal animations for games would use armatures and rigging and weighted vertices, we use shape keys, and that's how we got that kind of snap effect of blend shapes. And we specifically wanted that because we're emulating a two-dimensional art style of a very low frame rate and kind of where everything kind of looks flat from head on. And so we strategically place the player head on, and then we can animate these characters just snap animation. We could control the frame rate, we get to control how much of the shape key is adding on to the actual mesh at that given point, and so that adds for a really unique animation.
Excellent, excellent. So what did each of you do? What were each of your roles in the game development?
So I was mainly the artist and programming artist whenever a graphical thing needed programming. Luke, however, did a lot of the UI.
And yeah, I was very involved with the software engineering and the programming. There's by the end of it, there were a lot of scripts that went into this project, and it was a lot of fun to sort of solve a lot of the challenges, like he mentioned, especially with the user interface, because I got a bit carried away, but I had a lot of fun doing it. So
yeah, so we basically have these two games. One's completely UI, one's completely 3D, and
I think I just noticed a spaceship right there. Did I notice a spaceship?
Yes. That's the end to this first level, is basically this moving platform that goes up and down. We did the old trick of inheriting velocity, rigid bodies, that kind of deal. Another cool little quirk of this level particularly is the fog clears up as you get higher and higher. So it's kind of a little reward if the player falls. They can see more of the level if they're not as mad as resetting. And we didn't get to put a lot of it in the final build, but there is this non-Euclidean effect of having things be portals kind of effect that we never used. So we used it only in that one spot, and we use it for some outside effects on other levels, like a 3D skybox. But we only got to really use it there.
Excellent. All right, so that what was that? You gave the person an eyeball?
Yeah, so we found another character and we stitched it onto another character, and that gave him 3D vision. And so that was helping the cyan level. And then the next is yellow, and this was kind of based around the strange spider solitaire in Windows XP, where there's a spider on a card box and that's the icon. So that's where we got inspired for this. So yeah, all of these characters are super quirky and very odd in their own sense. And each level is supposed to reflect that as well, because the yellow level now is a completely different mechanic. It changes as the player progresses. So now they have to navigate this changing landscape. And this is probably the weakest level out of the whole game, but it is still visually striking, which is all we really cared about. And the characters are really quirky, so it works.
And so while we're watching this, I'm curious, Luke, with the UI, how did you get that style match so perfect? Like, you can look at that and it's Windows 95 or Windows 3.1. How did you pull off that style match?
So I've worked with a lot of Unity projects before, and I'm so familiar with like its canvas system that like I knew it so in and out. I was like, I need to make like an operating system to just go so all out on a project. And a lot of the art assets were actually hand done, and I had like essentially on my second monitor, I just had like the exact like Windows 95 like screenshots, and I tried my best to emulate it. I even have like color palettes of like what the accurate colors were for like certain generations of Windows.
Okay, and I would say you did a really good job there. Like, you get that effect is very prevalent. So here I see we're collecting cards. Obviously, something to do with the spider solitaire. What's the plot line for this level?
Basically, the cards act as like the spiders. What the spider takes care of, like the spider's responsible for all the cards, and the cards kind of ran away or doing their own thing, and you just have to bring them back to the spider. See, there's only 3 because we didn't really want to or have that much time to make a bunch of variations on this one level. Because we ended up making 4 levels, not 3, for this game in whole. Mainly because we really wanted the theme of the black level, and the ace doesn't have a face, so it doesn't say anything. So yeah, you bring back all the cards, and a short little dialogue segment afterwards, and you go through the door again. You're back at the hub. Each time you go back to the hub level, it's the knight will say something different as he's clearing up the debris that you crashed into beforehand. And in each iteration, you can see more of that debris being cleared until eventually you clear the magenta level, and now that debris is gone, and you're allowed to go to the last level.
Okay. So what's the story here? I see flowers.
Mm-hmm. The story here is that the character you're helping doesn't have legs, and you have to go bring the door at the end of the level back to her. As well as we introduce a new mechanic of like the launch pads, and that's a very interesting kind of more fun mechanic just for the platforming aspect.
Definitely my favorite.
Yeah. This level we also use a lot of the pixelation effect, and that was a really fun and interesting thing to do, where we can choose certain objects in the game that we want pixelated, and then we basically have a dedicated camera to only render those, and then recast them onto a render texture, alphaed out by their Z value, so that way we can control exactly the thematic elements of the level with that sense.
I see. Well, that was impressive. So, now I know the UI was planned. Like it sounds like the UI was planned for sure. Did the final the final aesthetics of the game turn out the way you imagined?
They're a little less crazy than we imagined, as I say, as a photorealistic pink dogs on the screen.
Yeah.
This is all inspired by a very popular YouTube animation by animator Joel G, named Ina Extinction Party, and it's a threatening title, but it's really lighthearted and stuff. And so it was a very inspiring thing because it was so different than anything we'd ever seen before. They were like, hey, we gotta make something related to this or inspired by it. So yeah, it's very interesting how that came about. And we reached out to Joel G himself, and he said that he's really happy to have inspired us, and everything's working out really well.
Excellent. So that was the third level. This is the final level?
This is the final level.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's gonna cut here, so you got to download the final game.
Okay, you gotta
Yeah.
play it. All right.
Yeah, it is a narratively complete game from start to finish.
Excellent.
So yeah, that's pretty much most of the gameplay you'll see, and then you get closure with the knight and his concern with how he's going to be seen by the looming king figure that you hear about. So yeah, that's our game.
Excellent. Well done. Do you have anything else you want to say about the game?
Go to itch.io.
Yeah,
Play our
download
game.
it, please. Play it, rate it.
Yeah, definitely. This is Somnium on
Somnium.
itch.io.
Mhm.
Thank you, Evan. Thank you, Luke.
Thank you.